Now what I want to do, right? What I want to do, I want to submit the form. What are the different strategies to read the form, right? Now go to the component, and at the class level I would be having one object, say my form of type ng form. Now ng form is the class, you need to import it, right? ng form is the class, you need to import it from, say, ng form from which package? At Angular, right? At Angular and forms, at Angular and forms, ng form, like this, right? ng form. Now here, whenever submit function is going to be called, you can send this form object over here. So what I'll do is that my form. So let me open the Chrome browser, which shows the objects or the logs very precisely. So here you have on submit, and to that on submit you are passing object of, what you can say, ng. Here we can say ng form, and instead of this, let me print my form object over here, right? I'm printing my form object over here. Now if I hit, say, localhost 4200 and hit the enter, your form would be there. Open the inspector and the console and just hit the register, and presently undefined. Why undefined? My form, okay, form, okay, form. Now let me register. Can you see? Here you would be getting object of, what you can say, event emitter. Here you are getting object of event emitter, and see, sorry, here you are getting object of ng form, right? If you explore the object, here you would be getting all the controls, right? But there are no controls over here, right? Why there are no controls? So this is your actual form. Into the form there is a control, form validation, true or false, whatever here you are describing. Here you are describing, right? Means this thing is giving you form. On the submission you are getting full form object, but there are the challenges. Your Angular is not detecting the controls, right? Your Angular is not detecting the controls. If you want Angular to detect the controls, to every control you are going to have ng, what you can say, here you would be having ngModel. You need to assign ngModel to every single control that you want that get detected by the Angular. See, ngModel, and here also you can have ngModel. So form name is important in this case. In this case it is a password name, in this case it is the email, and in this case it is, what you can say, username, right? Now try to submit the form. If you are going to submit the form, right here I would be submitting the form, and see what happens if I submit the form, right? At the console you will find one ng form. Now go to the form, and into that form you would be getting controls. You would be getting controls. Can you see the controls? Email, password, and the username. So if you want that to be detected, if you want Angular to detect the controls, make sure that you are, what you are going to say, you are going to attach ngModel. And that's why such types of forms are also called as model driven forms. These forms are also called as what you can say model driven or the template driven, because they use extensively what you can say models or ng models. These forms are also called as model driven. Okay, these are also called as model driven. Right. Now I want to get values. I want to get what? Values of these forms. Now there are two strategies. You can directly extract it from this ng form. So here you might need to do this dot my form is equals to incoming my form. This dot my form is equals to what? Incoming my form. So to the class level you have assigned this. Now here you can maintain one object, JS object like this. Here you can say my data, right, is equals to directly one JavaScript object, and here you can say username, right, username. This username presently I am going to say empty. Then you can have email, right, then you can have email. Presently email is empty, and then password, and here you can have password, something like this. My data, okay, email and the password. Now how these values are going to get reflected to the form? So simple question, you can have two-way binding, right? You can have two-way binding, right? And here you can say my data dot username, right, my data dot username. Here you can say my data dot email, and here you can say my data dot password, my data dot password. And instead of this form I will print that my data object, this dot my data. So by the means of two-way binding, right, here if I say this password is this and say register, can you see you would be getting one object over here, and that object would be having all of your values. This object is having all of your values. So this is how you will read the values of the form. This is how you will read values of the form by means of two-way binding like this. Right? By means of what? Two-way binding. Or you can extract all the values. Right? You can extract all the values. I'll show you that. Just go to the forms, and here instead of what you can say my data, I can say my form. Let me print that my form, and now enter some values and say register. Here you can get the thing and value. Can you see the value is going to give you the form values? So either you can couple it, right, either you can decouple it or couple it with the fields by using two-way binding, or you can use the value tab like this, or you can use this value, right, or you can use what? This value, one and same. That is up to you. Now which way you will prefer, by means of form you are going to extract it, or by means of what you can say dot value. Right, now here directly you would be getting what you can say this register, and see same thing you are getting over here. Either you can provide two-way binding and that object, or you can have directly my form dot value. That is up to you. Right, so in the next tutorial I'm going to cover validations. Right, I'm going to cover validations.